hope you're having a wonderful morning. I'm having a little shoulder neck crank today, so we're going to do a class that works on that. I'm actually going to do one without props today because I want to play with the limitations that not having additional props gives you and still playing with this area. So we're actually going to start lying down on our backs. Now, if lying down on your back without any support bothers your head and neck, feel free to take a blanket or something small and put it under your head and neck. So make sure you have plenty of support. And then from here, right hand to your belly, left hand to your heart. Your feet can be out or mat distance width apart. Knees can fall gently in towards each other, or your knees can point straight up to the sky with the feet closer in. And just here, feel the natural curves of the spine. So feel the hips heavy, the low back lifting up a little, the shoulders heavy, the neck lifting up, and the back of the head heavy. Soften or close your eyes and turn inside to the flow of the breath. So just feeling the air on your nostrils. And then letting the breath begin to lengthen and deepen. And as you begin to let the breath lengthen and deepen, feel the lungs moving with the breath. Feel the rib cage moving with the breath. Feel your skin moving with the breath. And just notice if one or both hands are moving with the breath. And not trying to force anything, but just observing. And seeing what a nice full deep breath is like in your body. So the embodied experience of that statement. With every exhale, let yourself settle down into the support of the earth. And with every inhale, let yourself be nourished. And throughout class, we'll try to maintain this connection to the breath. We'll also try to stay connected to the support of the earth underneath us. So if at any point things feel a little bit unstable, you can just come back into that support, the sense of being held. And we'll stay connected to ourselves from the inside out. So keep checking in, tuning into yourself. Feel free to modify, adjust, or adapt based on that experience. Free. And then from here, you can gently open your eyes. Open the arms into an airplane position or a T position. And with your feet about as wide apart as your mat, exhale the knees over to the right side. Inhale up to center. Exhale, knees to the left. Now, as you do this, go from side to side. Again, try to bring your chin into a fairly neutral position and feel the back of the head and the shoulders grounding down into the earth with a natural, slight, small lift in the neck if that works for your body. And then the next time the knees are over on the right side, you can hold the knees on the right side, breathing here. If it feels good for your body, you can take the right foot on top of the left knee. And then unwinding, coming back to center. Knees go over to the left side. Left foot on top of right knee, if that works for you. You might need to gently press the right knee back up into the left foot if that feels like a small overstretch. Breathe. Inhale, come up to center. Feet can be again wide apart, knees falling in, or feet hip distance apart, knees pointing up to the sky. From here, stretch your arms up towards the ceiling. Fingers pointing toward the ceiling, palms facing in. And here, we're going to inhale, we're going to lift the shoulders off the ground. And then we're going to exhale, press the shoulders down into the ground. Inhale, shoulders away. Exhale, shoulders in. And just moving back and forth to the flow of your breath. And then go ahead and do one side at a time. So press the left shoulder down, lift the right shoulder up. Press the right shoulder down, lift the left shoulder up. So going from side to side. Inhaling as one lifts, exhaling as the other does. The whole time, chin in neutral, and back of head if it's comfortable for you, rooting down. Okay, connect both shoulders down. Inhale with shoulders pressing down, reach the arms up overhead only as much as feels good for your shoulders. Exhale, lower the arms towards your feet. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, lower arms towards feet. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, lower arms towards the feet. Bring the palms to face down. Feet hip distance apart, knees turning up towards the sky. Gaze up towards the sky. Again, chin in neutral, head presses down. Inhale, shrug the shoulders up towards the ears a bit, and then wiggle the shoulders underneath you on the back. Pressing down through the back of the head and shoulders. Notice your hips are heavy, but the low back is, again, lifting up some here. Keep that small lift in the low back as you exhale and move the rib cage down towards the ground, towards your spine. So your core is engaged. Keep the chest lifting up. Press down through the feet. Inhale, let the hips lift up just an inch or two. Exhale and lower back down. As you inhale, the hips lift up. Stretch the hips and the chest away from each other. Exhale, lower back down. And as you inhale, lift the hips up. Keep the weight even in the inner and outer edges of the feet. You can slowly start to lift your hips up higher. Only if that feels good for you. And as you do this, you're trying not to tilt the hips under our back, so you're not doing pelvic tilts. It's not that there's anything wrong with doing pelvic tilts and bridges, but we're not doing that today. And then inhale, lifting up. If you want to, you can grab the outside edges of your mat, pull the mat apart with your hands, wiggle the shoulders underneath you more, pressing down through the shoulders and the back of the head, pressing down through the feet, hips stretch in one direction, chest stretches in the other. Breathing here. And then exhale, lower the hips back down. Bring the hands to the tops of the thighs. Press the thighs away from you, gently swaying the knees from side to side. And unraveling the hips into center. Right hand and right thigh press into each other so much that you lift that right foot up off the ground. Straightening the right leg as much as works for you for the sky. And pointing and flexing the foot. And then just moving the ankle around freely here. And then go ahead and release that side. Second side. Press the left hand and the left thigh into each other. Lift the left foot up. Extend the left leg. Point and flex. And then moving the ankle around for you. Lower the left foot down. Feet can be outer mat distance width apart, knees falling in towards each other. Stretch the arms up towards the sky. Shoulders connecting down. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, circle the arms wide around and down. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, circle wide around and down. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, circle wide around and down. Two more times, moving with your breath. Last time. Arms by the sides, palms face down. Wiggle the shoulders underneath you, shoulders towards the ears. Feet hip distance apart, knees facing towards the sky. Connect down through the feet. And then here, pressing down through the shoulders and the head, lift the chest up. Inhale, hips lift up without tilting. Exhale, lower back down. outside edges of your mat, pulling the mat apart, wiggling the shoulders underneath you, breathing here. And then exhale, lower the hips back down, bring the hands to the tops of the thighs, press the thighs away from you, swing the knees from side to side. Coming back to center here, this time straightening the left leg, left knee and toe up toward the sky, left hand to your hip. Now if you need to bend the knee some, you can bend the knee some, or you keep the knee deeply bent. But you're pressing the hip down and your heel down, whether your knee is slightly bent or straight. Then pressing the left leg, hip and heel down, right leg lifts up, hand presses into the thigh, and go ahead and straighten that leg. You can stay here, or if it works to you to grab behind the back of the right leg and you can still relax your shoulders and the back of the head down, then you can do that. You're pressing the leg out into your hands, breathing here. Go ahead and release this side. Hands to the thighs. Right leg straightens, maybe not all the way straight. Heel and hip root down, both hips heavy. Left hand and left thigh connect. And go ahead and extending that leg. And again, the right leg can be straight or bent. Breathing here. And if you want to, you can reach your hands behind the back of the left leg, bending the knee enough that the shoulders and back of the head connect down, and only straightening the leg as much as you can do that. Breathe. Okay, go ahead. Release, hugging both knees into the chest, coming into a ball, gently rocking. And then from here, just rolling all the way over onto your side, making your way up to sitting. Bring the legs straight forward out in front of you, hands back behind you. Press down through the hands, lift up to the chest. Breathing here, playing with how far opening the throat might work for you. And then soften everything and transition to all fours on the mat, coming to your hands and knees. So hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, knees far enough away from the hands you can lengthen the spine. Weight in the front of the hands. Inhale, stretch the spine long. Exhale, round the back, look at your navel. Inhale, arch the back, head and tailbone up to the sky. Just notice how you feel. Notice how your back feels. Notice your shoulders moving on and off the back. Notice how your neck feels. Notice the hips tilting under and up. Breathe. Then inhale, come to a nice extended spine position. Exhale, lower down to your elbows. And then on your elbows, inhale, stretch the spine nice and long again. Go ahead again, play with perhaps head positions and try to come into a position where it feels like your neck is just naturally extending out of the spine. And then here, inhale, shoulders off the back. Exhale, shoulders on the back. So another way to think about this is inhale, arm bones out of the shoulder socket. Exhale, arm bones into the shoulder socket. Or inhale, rounding just the upper back without tilting the hips. Exhale, softening the upper back without tilting the hips. Breathing here. And then feel free to stay here with wherever the shoulders feel good, or just easing back into a child's pose, feet together, knees a bit apart, hips back towards heel, head towards floor, or in my case right now, toward my forearms. Again, make the poses your own. So it's fine to do little adjustments, things that tend to really work for your body in the poses. And then come forward onto your belly. Gently rock the hips side to side. And then unraveling into center, Pressing the forehead down on the hands, again, making sure your neck feels nice and good. Press the hips down. And then with your next exhale, draw the low ribs in and up. With your knees facing down, inhale the right leg at enter two. Stretch it back away from you. Exhale, lower it back down. And then inhale, left leg at enter two. Stretch it out. Lower it back down. Keep stretching back through the legs. Bring the arms along the sides. If forehead resting on the ground works for you, you can do that. If you need to float it just a bit, float it just a bit. And then whenever you're ready, inhale, shoulders lift up, head and chest lift up too. If that works for you, exhale, lower back down. Inhale, floating up. Exhale, lower back down. Inhale, float up, hold. Press the back of your hands or the front of the hands down. Feel the shoulders floating up. And again, just small, delicate movements, head and neck. And what you're trying to find is that sweet spot where it feels good for you and it feels like your head is just a natural extension of the spine. Breathing wherever you end up. And by the way, you're actively stretching through the legs. So if your feet float up some, that's fine, as long as your hips are rooted and you're really stretching through those legs. And then exhale, lower all the way back down. Just rock your hips from side to side. And come back into a child's pose. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breath. Come up to all fours. Inhale, stretch the spine long. And we're going to do a slow down cat-cow. This is going to take multiple breaths. What you're going to do is you're going to tuck your hips under first. And then you're going to round the low back. And then you're going to puff up into the upper back. And then lastly, you're going to let the head and neck drop. And then you're going to tilt the hips up. Drop the low back, but keep your core engaged. Keep your ribcage hugging in. Soften through the upper back. And lastly, you're not going to really lift the head and neck up high. You don't want to crink in the neck, but you're just going to balance that out. So exhale, tuck your hips under. Puff into your lower back. Puff into your upper back. Head and neck can release. And then hips tilt up. Lower back lowers down, but core stays engaged. Ribcage hugs in. Then you start to create a valley between the shoulders. And lastly, you level out the head and neck. One more round. Hips tuck under. Low back lifts up so your spine's like a snake. Upper back puffs up. Head and neck drops. And then hips tilt up. Low back softens down. Core engaged. Upper back softens down. Valley between the shoulders. And then line up the head and neck. Okay. Come back to a neutral spine. And then from here, come into a child's pose. Breathe. Come forward onto your belly. Gently rock your hips from side to side. Evening out your hips, stretching back through the legs, arms by the sides. Inhale, floating up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, float up, hips stay heavy. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, float up. Flip the hands so they're facing forward. Act like you're going to drag the hands back. Again, you might have to play around a bit to find the position that works for your head and neck today. And then moving slowly, so being cautious, turn your head to the left. Go ahead and drop the head and neck down, facing the right, and back to center. And again, maybe playing around here, seeing where things work. Turn your head to the right, dropping head and neck down, back to the left, and then back to center. And center maybe takes a little bit of exploration. And then exhale, lower back down. and come into a child's pose. Breathe. Inhale up to all fours. Arm bones and shoulder socket. Long spine, inhale. Exhale, keep the length in the spine. Lift the hips up high, downward facing dog. Breathing here. Now you may decide you want to keep your ears and the arms more in line with each other, or you may relax to the head and neck. Bend and straighten the legs, move the hips from side to side. And then bending both knees. With both knees bent, walk the hands back. Stop when you can weight your feet so your hands are still out in front of you. You might have to open the feet wider apart to be comfortable. Stretch those hips away from the hands, get length. And then exhale if you want to. You can keep on walking in, folding in, relaxing through the head and neck. Maybe bring hands up to the legs. Knees are still bent here though, so you're releasing the spine over the legs if that feels good for your back. If not, you can extend through the spine a bit more instead. And then from here, inhale, slide your hands up the legs, look forward and lengthen. Exhale and fold it. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and fold. Inhale and lengthen. Hold, come to some place where your spine can be extended, so hands are up high enough to do that. Stretch the spine out of the hips. And again, just seeing where it feels like your head and neck should be. Core engaged, and then come all the way up to standing. Okay. Step towards the front of the mat. I like to sometimes leave a bit of space. I'm short, so I don't need the whole length of the mat. If you're taller, you might have to play with things some more than I do. Once you're here, knees face forward, second, third toes face forward. Wiggle your toes. Inhale, lift all 10 toes up. Arches of the feet wake up. Balance out the weight between the front and the back of your feet and the inner and outer edges of the feet. Keep the arches floating up, spread the toes apart, and lower the toes down to the ground. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders gently moving in toward each other on the back. And again, just try to find that place where your head feels like it's balanced here. And then from here, exhale, release the hands to the side, move through your shoulders. Inhale, arms come wide and reach up high. Exhale, the arms to the side. Inhale, arms come wide and reach up high. Exhale, arms to the side. Inhale, arms come wide, reach up high. Exhale, you can lean over to the left. Inhale, up to center. Exhale to the right. Inhale, up to center. Exhale to the left. So make sure again your arms are wide enough apart that your head and neck has room. You might even bend your elbows here. And then taking that moment, lining head and neck up into a place that feels good. Gently turn the head down. Exhale. Turn the head up. Inhale. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Go ahead, come back up to center. Extending long to the spine, leaning over to the right. Again, finding enough room for the head and neck, lining it up. And then exhale, maybe turn the head down. Inhale up. Leave out anything that's aggravating or causing tension for you. And then go ahead, come back up to center, extending long. Exhale, release the hands to the side, knees as wide apart as the feet. Inhale, as you bend the knees, arms reach up. Exhale, lower down. And remember, just like when we're on the floor, you're only lifting the arms up as much as feels good for the shoulders. Inhale, bend the knees, shift the weight into the right foot, stretching forward to counterbalance. Slowly, big step back with that left foot. From here, right hand can come to the right thigh, stretch the spine long, and then left hand can come down to the ground. Breathing, extending long through the spine, turn your belly and chest to the right, And then just take your right arm alongside by your hip, breathing here. And then go ahead, right hand comes back to the thigh. Left fingers get light. You can come all the way up. Press strongly into that right foot and use that to drag the left foot forward. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders on the back. Exhale, release the hand. Inhale, bend the knees. Weight in the left foot. Counterbalancing, leaning forward as with control you step the right foot back. Left knee on top of the ankle. You could also take the left thumb into the hip and lengthen the spine out of the hips. Lower the right hand down with a long spine. Right hand doesn't come to the floor. You can bring it to your own left knee. And then turning your chest to the side, you can just bring the arm along the side. And here you can play with what position feels neutral for your hand and shoulders. Inhale, broadening through the chest. Exhale, shoulders gently roll towards each other on the back. And again, playing with head and neck placement, seeing what works for you today. Gentle movement. And then lowering the left hand to the left knee. Get light to the right fingers, bring them up. Press down to the left foot, coming forward to the front of the mat. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back. Connect from the hips down. Exhale, release the hands to the side. Inhale, arms come wide, reach up high. Exhale, long spine, fold forward, hands to legs or floor. Pressing down to the hands, the front of the hands if that works for you. Shift the weight into your hands, and this might be too much for your neck and shoulders if there's flare up, so just be careful. Lift hips up high and walk feet back, downward facing dog. Bending and straightening the legs in downward facing dog, keeping the weight more in the front of the hands, almost as though you're going to imagine lifting the wrist up. And then exhale, lower down to all fours, but maybe with the knees slightly behind the hips this time instead of knees directly under the hips. So walk the knees back some. When you are ready, I'm going to walk my whole self back some. When you're ready, inhale, slide your hips forward, shoulders back. Exhale, lifting back up to all fours. Inhale, hips move forward, shoulders move back a little bit. Exhale, back up. Inhale, hips forward, shoulders back. And then exhale, lower down. And you're only lowering the hips forward in that previous pose as much as feels good for your low back. Stretching long through the legs. Press down to the feet if that works for you. Press down to the hips. Stretch your chest forward. Feel free to stay low. Or again, if you're feeling okay, inhale, lifting up. Exhale, lowering down. But as you lift up, if your shoulders start to round forward, then don't go so far. Lengthening through the spine. Again, listening to your low back, paying attention to your shoulder placement. Lifting up, lowering down. Inhale, lift up. Hold a height that works for you. Rib cage draws in, chest lifting up, broadening through the back of the body. And again, lining head and neck up, seeing what works for you, and then gently turning the head side to side. And then exhale, lower all the way down and come back into a child's pose. Great. Inhale up to all fours. Exhale, downward facing dog, nice long spine. Look forward at the hands, hips high, and walk the feet forward towards the hands. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, long spine all the way up to standing. Exhale, connect from the hips down into the earth. Breathing here. And then hands together in front of the heart, shoulders gently on the back. Exhale, release the hands to the side. Inhale, bend the knees, shift your weight into your right foot with control. Left foot goes back. Back heel can be up or down. And then go ahead and straighten the right leg. Keep your spine stretching out of the hips. Then coming all the way up, right? Press down through the hips, feel the low ribs lifting in and up. Track right knee towards second or third toe, and just bending that knee however much feels good for your hips and low back, and that you can keep your core engaged. Then from here, we're going to release the hands to the side. Inhale, arms can reach up through center. See what this feels like. Exhale, release. Inhale, arms can swing back. See what that feels like. Exhale, release. Inhale, arms reach up. See what that feels like. Exhale, bend the elbows to the sides. And then one more time. Inhale, extend the arms. Exhale, bend the elbows to the sides. Go ahead, lean forward. Press down through that right foot and use that to step the left foot forward. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders on the back. Exhale, release the hands. Inhale, bend the knees. Shift your weight into your left foot, counterbalancing. Right foot going back. And then hands to your hips. Spine lengthens out of the hips. Hips fairly level. Straightening that left leg. And then coming upright. Only as upright as feels good for your back and your hips though. So if leaning forward feels better for you, you can. You can also turn the hips a bit. So you don't have to have the hips directly forward. You can play with angles. See what works for you. And then press from the center of your spine out into your hands, space in the low back. Slowly bend that left knee, only as much as feels good for your hips and low back though. And then lengthen. And from here, release the hands to the side. Again, feel the shoulders moving up and gently connecting on the back. Line your head and neck up. And then inhale, reaching the arms up, only to where it feels good for you. Exhale, lower. Inhale, swing the arms back. Again, only to what feels good for you. Notice what's going on. Exhale and lower. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, bend the elbows to the side. Inhale, arms reach up. And then exhale, leaning forward, press down through that left foot, slide, wiggle, scoot the right foot forward. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back. Connect from the hips into the earth. Breathe. And then go ahead and release. And turn and face the side while opening the legs nice and wide apart. Okay, and you can play again with how wide apart. So often I'll say open your legs wide apart and pause. Notice how you feel and decide if you want to shift, either going wider or narrower. But just give yourself a moment to wherever you decide at first to think about it. And then from here, we'll turn the left toes in, and I'm mirroring you now. Right toes out to the right side. Legs are fairly straight, but there's softness in the joint. And then here, hands up into a T. So hands up into a T. Notice again how that feels for you. And then lift your hands looking straight in between the legs. Lift your hands a bit higher. Turn the palms to face up. And just feel the bottom tips of their shoulders moving in towards each other. Keep the feeling of external rotation spinning out through the upper arms, but just turn your palms to face back down. And then from here, we're going to lean over to the right side and come back up to center. Lean over to the right side, come back up to center. Inhale, lean to the right, and then lower the right hand to wherever it's comfortable on the right leg. The left hand, you're just going to turn the palm to the side. You're going to broaden through the chest, and again, gently playing with your head and neck. If your left shoulder feels really good, you can turn the palm to face down and take the hand back behind the back. Breathing here. And then unravel that arm, come back up, and second side. So right toes turn in, left toes turn out. Knees are a bit soft, but legs are fairly straight, hugging in from your feet to your hips. Hands lift up to a T, just looking in between your arms for now. Inhale, lift the hands up, turn the palms to face up. Feel that turning, spinning out in the upper arms, and then just turn the lower arms to face down. And then from here, looking over those left fingers, inhale and lean. Exhale, come back up. Inhale and lean. Exhale, come back up. Inhale and lean. Left hand comes to wherever it works for you. Right hand, start with the palm, the thumb facing up, palm facing away from you. And here, play around. And again, if it's okay for your shoulder from here, if you want to, you can turn the thumb to face down. You can take the hands to your back and breathe. Press down to your feet, come all the way up. Turn all 10 toes to face towards this direction. Knees soft, hands on the hips. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold forward. Stopping someplace where you can extend the spine long. Press your hips back, lengthen the spine long, breathing here. And then gently folding all the way in if that feels good for you. If that doesn't, stay in a more extended spine position. And again, line up your head and neck there. Then, wherever you're at here, your shoulders can move towards each other, and if it works for you, you can clasp your hands behind the back. And you can keep your hands on the back, moving the shoulders in towards each other, elbows in, or you can gently stretch the arms off the back. As you stretch the arms off the back, gently pull the elbows apart, and even though the shoulders are on the back, press them out away from each other. Breathe. And then inhale. Nice long spine all the way up to standing. Heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, your feet in towards each other. Shake out the legs and come to standing at the top of the mat. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back. Connect from the hips down. Exhale, release the hands to the side. Inhale, arms come wide, reach up high. Exhale and fold. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale, fold and place the hands hips high. If that works for you, walk the feet back. Downward facing dog. Lower down to all fours, point the toes. Inhale, hips forward, shoulders back. Exhale, lift back up. Inhale, hips forward, shoulders back. Exhale, lift back up. Inhale, hips forward, shoulders back. If you want to from here, you can press down to the feet and lift the hips up off the ground, just a small amount. Exhale, lower the hips back down and come back into a child's pose. Breathe. Come up to sitting. Feet forward out in front of you, hands back behind you. Press down through the hands, lift up to the chest, lift up to the throat. Breathing here again, being careful though how much you do tilt the head back. And then keep lifting the low back up. Walk your hands forward. So if your back starts to round, if your hips start to tilt under, bend your knees. Make sure you can sit up nice and tall. And then from here, we'll bend the left knee in towards us, so right leg can straighten. Hug onto that left knee, sit up nice and tall. Left hand back behind you, twisting towards the left. If you want it to, you can cross the right elbow over. I'm not going to do that today. Breathing here. And again, just being aware of where your shoulders are, where the head and neck is, and what motions feel good for you. Breathe. Go ahead, unwind. Open the left knee to the left side, pressing down to the inner edge of the foot a bit. And you can move the thighs back. Do what we used to call an inner spiral action. So pulling the thighs apart from each other. Pressing the right heel down, sit up nice and tall. If you need to bend the right knee to sit up nice and tall, do that. Making sure your hips pivot. So pivoting at your hips to fold forward. And then your back can gently round. And again, that knee can stay bent or it can straighten. You're just grabbing wherever works for you. Inhale, come back up. Lift the left knee up. Cross the left foot over the right leg. But instead of having the knee go up toward the sky like we would if we were twisting again, you're going to, if it works for your hips, walk that left foot further over to the right. You're also going to bend the right knee a bit here. The same bend you would do to sit up nice and tall, because we're going to try that. And then from here, you're going to stretch the arms forward out in front of you, sitting up nice and tall. Shoulders move towards each other on the back, like when we're against the floor. Again, trying to line the head and neck up. Bend your elbows. Bring the palms together. Then see if you can bring the elbows in together. If not, stop there, wherever there is at. If this is good for you, you're going to now take the right elbow and cross it over the left. You can stop here. You can take the back of the hands together. You can stop here, or you can wrap your palms. So any of these places, sitting up nice and tall, feel free to stay here. Or again, if your hips move, you're going to fold forward. This is a cross between a Ardha Gomukhasana with Garandasana, eagle arms, a half cow face with eagle arms position. Or I also was thinking of it as basically a sitting eagle pose instead of a standing eagle pose. Come all the way back up, unwind yourself, and second side. So we're going to start by bending the right knee and twisting to the right. Sit up nice and tall. Right hand behind you. Left hand can come across the knee. You want to take elbow, you can. Breathe, just lining up the head and neck here. And then exhale, unwind. Open the right knee to the right. Bend the left knee enough that you can lengthen the spine and move your hips. Pressing the heel down, pressing both hips down. Leaning forward and just grabbing someplace comfortable for you. You can inhale and lift up and lengthen, and exhale, gently fold in. Now, things to watch here. Sometimes we twist and turn through the spine. Sometimes we crescent through the spine. So try to lengthen both sides of the waist. Turn your torso so it's over that left leg and fold. If that doesn't work for you, take your right hand over to the right side and fold more between the legs. And then inhale, come up, lift the right knee up, cross the right foot over, walk the right foot to the left, bend the left knee, press the heel down, press both hips down, sit up nice and tall. Bring the arms forward, line the head and neck up, shoulders on the back, bend the elbows, palms in towards each other, maybe elbows in towards each other. Feel free to stop in this movement. Or if this feels okay for you, left elbow over right. And be careful that your shoulders aren't starting to round off the back. You're keeping the shoulders on the back. Then from here, maybe back of the hands towards each other, or maybe hands. Breathe. And feel free to stay sitting up nice and tall, or to fold forward. And then go ahead, unwind. Have enough of a bend in both knees that you can sit up nice and tall. So if your back is rounded, bend the knees more, sit up nice and tall. And then leaning at the hips. Again, maybe reaching for the catted corner towards the ceiling and the wall in front of you. And then keeping some of that length forward, hands to legs. Folding in, breathe. Come back up, slide your hips forward towards the front of the mat, and make your way onto your back, just however is comfortable for you. Hug the knees into the chest, coming into a ball, gently rocking. Circles on the ceiling with the knees in one direction to massage out the hips and the low back. Circles on the ceiling with the knees in the other direction. Then with your knees bent, lower the feet to the ground, feet hip distance apart, hips heavy, low back lifts, shoulders heavy, neck lifts, chin in neutral, back of the head heavy. Feel the rib cage softening down towards the spine, arms by the sides, shoulders up towards the ears, and then on your back, And then when you're ready, without tilting the hips, inhale, lift the hips up, stretching the chest and the hips away from each other. Exhale, lower down. And make sure your chest is lifting up too. So as you lift the hips up, chest is lifting up too. Exhale and lower back down. Inhale, lift up however high you want to go. You can grab the mat, pull the mat apart, wiggle the shoulders underneath you. Breathe in here. And then exhale, lower back down, hands to the tops of the thighs. Press the tops of the thighs away, swaying the knees from side to side. Coming back to center, opening the arms into a T position, connecting down to the back of the head and shoulders. Feet as wide apart as your mat. Exhale, knees over to the right. Inhale up to center. Exhale, knees to the left. Inhale up to center. Feel free to keep on doing windshield wipers. Or if after a few rounds you're feeling like you want to move into a deeper twist, the next time you go over to the left side, come back up to center and lift your feet up off the ground. Your hips, you still want to feel a bit heavier than the low back. And then exhale the knees over to the right here. Inhale up to center. Exhale, knees to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale to the right. You're going to hold the knees to the right side. And here, you can take the right hand on top of the left knee and press them into each other, breathing. You can also pull the knee, the left knee, a little bit towards the right. Go ahead, release. Inhale, up to center. Exhale, knees to the left. Left hand can come to the right knee. And again, you can pull the knee a little to the right. You want to keep both shoulders down. And then I'm pressing my hand and my knee in towards each other. Breathe. Inhale, up to center. Hug the knees into the chest, gently rocking. Feel free to stay here. Open the knees wider apart, lengthening through the spine. Feel free to stay here or flip the feet up toward the ceiling, holding on to the legs or the feet, pulling down with the arms, pressing up with the legs and the feet. And then coming back to center and full body stretch. Arms up above the head, legs along the floor, opening everything up. And ending with Shavasana, arms by the sides, palms up, opening the legs wider apart than the hips, lengthening the tailbone, being someplace comfortable and letting yourself release. If it feels better to have knees bent, bend your knees or legs straight, or any position that your spine is fairly neutral and that you can relax into the support of the earth. And then doing just that with every exhale. Just notice what muscles feel tight and let yourself let go. And seeing if you have some muscles that are tense today, seeing if now, if with just a little bit of awareness, if you feel that sense of being supported by the earth, if you can let them go. Maybe if you feel a bit more permeable to the skin, and maybe even if you feel a bit more permeable even to the muscles. Feeling less separation between you and everything around you. And then whenever you feel as relaxed as you're going to get, you can let go and just rest. And staying here as long as you want. But when you are ready to leave, you'll leave slowly. You'll start by lengthening the breath. You'll come into small movements of fingers and toes. And then you'll just circle ankles, wrists, stretch arms and legs. Bend knees, ease onto a side. Pause. And then make your way up. But again, spend as much time on your back as works for you. And I hope you have a wonderful day.